This is Mega Mike, back with another super ranking for you today. Today I'm going to be ranking my top 10 MCU movies of all time. Yes, all MCU films are up for grabs, and I'm going to go through my top 10, starting with my worst to the best. So you want to stick around to the very end of the video so you can see my favorite MCU movie of all time, my number one. So let's go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're discovering me for the first time, like the video, and let's get started. Number 10. And at my number 10 spot is going to be Thor. Yes, I know what you're saying. Thor 1? Yes, I'm telling you, Thor 1 is a gem of a movie. It is underrated. You gotta go back and see it. I think it's the most underrated MCU movie out there. It's a great Shakespearean story of two brothers just having conflict and trying to gain acceptance from their father, and they're going through hardship. And you have one brother, Thor, played by Chris Hemsworth, who thinks he's all bad, a little bit arrogant, thinks he is the leader, but then he falls from graces, has to humble himself, and then rise up again into that leadership position. And then you got Loki, who you know is a bad guy, but you feel for him because of all the things he went through, being adopted into the family, having to try to compete with Thor now. And they just have that brother dynamic. They're always against each other, but you can see that they still care for each other. So there's a rivalry there. And they're just trying to gain their father's acceptance and do what is best. And it's just such a great family dynamic story. Like I said, go back and watch it. Just watch it as a Shakespearean drama with that superhero overcoat on it. And I'm telling you, I think you're going to like this movie a lot more. And that's why I had to put Thor, the first one, on my number 10 spot. Number 9.
Sup, guys? Wait a minute. You guys aren't the real Avengers. I can tell Hulk gives it away.
And now for my number 9 spot, we're going to be going with Spider-Man Homecoming. Yes, the first in the Spider-Man trilogy. Spider-Man Homecoming is a great story. They do a great job on casting this one. You got Tom Holland playing Peter Parker, who is the perfect Spider-Man for a high schooler, and then just all his high school friends work within the movie, all the supporting cast. You have Zendaya playing MJ, you have Marisa Tomei playing Aunt May, and so that's just a great group of characters for Peter Parker to interact with. And then you even get Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Iron Man to give him some assistance, mentor him, give him some advice, and that is just great to see more MCU characters in this one helping this new superhero out. So they do a really good beginning story for Spider-Man in this movie. Now, I do think the Spider-Man costume that he gets from Iron Man does get a little bit too much like Iron Man powers. I would have just liked it more of a simple Spider-Man costume. But other than that, like I said, just the dynamic between Spider-Man and Iron Man work within this one. Iron Man's not used too much in this movie. Still a Spider-Man story. And then you have the Vulture played by Michael Keaton, which is great in this movie. I like how they do that scavenger story and connect it to the old movies of him having to scavenge these equipment and supplies of this rubble and destruction from past MCU events. That's a great way to tie in the Vulture. And so this is just a simpler story, a simpler conflict. It's not world ending, but how they connect the Vulture into there, and then how they connect the Vulture to a character that Peter Parker knows is a nice little twist that I didn't see coming. So it just works as a great Spider-Man story. Excellent. That's why I had to put it on my number 9. Number 8. And then at number 8, we are going to have Captain America, the Winter Soldier. I even have a nice still book for this one. Take a look at that. Oh yeah, this is a great movie. This movie was so exciting when it first came out. I remember this one. It was something different in a superhero movie than we've seen before. It was more of a political spy thriller, and just how they do everything in this movie is so exciting. Bringing in the Winter Soldier, who was a past person that Captain America knew, and making that the villain, that was so exciting. And when he showed up on screen, some of the best action I have ever seen. So their dynamic going against each other, and just having that dynamic where Captain America doesn't want to hurt his friend, but they're fighting. It just makes for some intense moments. And then you have all the political stuff in the background with Hydra, and how Hydra is infecting Shield and just corrupting everything within that organization. And now Nick Fury is in trouble, and Captain America is in trouble, and everything's getting turned on its head, and it's just them against the world, it seems like. It just ends up being a great action, political, spy, superhero movie, which I didn't know they could pull off, but this movie just shows all the different genres that the MCU can use, and this movie is still great to this day. That's why I had to put it at number 8. Number 7.
Drop it now!
Yeah, hey, cool, man. No problem. No problem at all.
Who are you?
Star-Lord.
Who?
Then at number 7 is going to be Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't have a physical copy of this one, but I got the shirt, got Groot, Rocket Raccoon right here. And this movie is such a great time. Just having a group work together so well of so many different characters being introduced to us for the first time. James Gunn just does a great job of bringing out all the unique personalities. Peter Quill is so fun, and just how he kind of moves around and dance, and he has those comedic moments. He is great in the movie, and all the other characters. Drax has some good comedic moments. We got Rocket Raccoon and Groot that work so well together, and Gamora. I mean, just as a team of characters, they are wonderful. And this movie is just so kind of fun and action packed, and the soundtrack is phenomenal in this movie that they choose to go with. This gives you that good old timey kind of classic feel with it, and you can just kind of dance with the music. It's very exciting, very fun, very different for a superhero movie like this. And then just overall, like I said, spending time with this group of characters and all the fun action comedic sequences they have, it just makes it all worth it. And even though the villain in this one isn't too great, right? Ronan the Accuser isn't that exciting. It still introduces to a different Infinity Stone, and it ties together with all the MCU universe. So all around it works. And like I said, being able to introduce all these superheroes at once and having us care about each of them. Number 6.
God, seems like 1,000 years ago. I fought my way out of that cave, became Iron Man. Realized I loved you. I know I said no more surprises, but I was really hoping to pull off one last one.
And then at my number 6 spot is going to be Avengers Endgame. Yes, Avengers Endgame. I even have the steelbook copy right here. Oh, this is such a great movie. Seeing 10 years of the MCU movies build up to this final epic conclusion against Thanos. And you have all the MCU characters here and just how they use them. Just leaving off from Infinity War with some very tragic, heartfelt moments at the beginning, and seeing how the snap affected everybody and now where everybody's at. It's just intense. And then you have it get picking up, and then once you get to that third act of the movie, it's like a giant roller coaster ride. It is so action packed. So many things are going on in the background. It is fantastic. It looks like it's straight out of a comic book. It is some great action set piece. Probably the best I've ever seen in any superhero movie. Just on the epicness and scale of this movie. It is so amazing. And you just have such great moments of everybody trying to fight Thanos. and it's just so intense, and you can't go wrong with this movie overall. Now, some moments may drag a little bit in the middle, some of the time travel stuff may not make much sense, but when you get to that final third act, it is all a 10-year payoff that is excellent, and that's why it had to be this high up on my list. So that was just my part 1 of my top 10 MCU movie ranking list. The video was getting a little too long, so I had to split it up into 2 parts. So make sure you go and check out part 2 over there. Make sure you click on that video. And then you can see part 2, my epic conclusion to my favorite MCU films of all time, all the way up to my number 1 spot to see what is my absolutely favorite MCU movie. So let's have a conversation in the comments below. Let me know, what do you think of my first movies 10 through 6 of MCU films? Would you agree with any of them on your list? Would you disagree? Would you move some things around? Let me know what your list looks like in the comments below so we can have that conversation. Also, if you're discovering my channel for the first time, make sure you subscribe and also like the video. And this is Mega Mike the Movie Man out here reminding you to make every day a movie day.